I play bass.
Slap a little
Yeah.
bass.
Slap of the bass.
Yeah.
In
You
fact,
play it up here, or
yeah,
like you got
you know,
low?
I try to go jazzy.
Yeah. Okay.
But sometimes it goes grunge,
Yeah,
kind of
I
low to
get
the
it.
knee.
You get a little lost
uh,
in the music.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, I love it.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand, a podcast where we take a deep dive looking behind what makes a brand successful, what makes a brand work, and really the person behind that brand. As always, we're filming from our offices in downtown Owasso, azeebrandingolutions, and we're excited to introduce our guest today, and that is the one, the only, David Levens. David, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. How was the drive over from
How?
Howell? I almost said Brighton.
Yeah, it's sketchy. I mean, the weather's garbage.
Yeah, as we're
It's
filming today, it's a bad day outside.
yeah, it's all the roads haven't been touched, so it's a little
Yeah.
slickery.
Well, thanks for making the trip, man.
Yeah,
How long of a
absolutely.
drive was it?
I think Waze said it was gonna be. It's 24 miles.
Okay.
Oddly enough, but
It's my lucky
it was
number.
supposed to be like 40 minutes, and it took us about close to 70.
Wow, and you still got
But we
here
were
early.
taking it. Yeah, we were just taking it nice and easy.
Brought your lovely wife with you today, so thanks for that. It was much better to see her than it is to see you. I got to be honest.
I would agree. I would agree.
So before we really, dive into Defender Fleet Services, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I was born, raised in Howell, Michigan, actually where I live now. When I was little tyke, around 9, we moved to Fenton, and spent most of my teenage and adult life there. Just actually recently moved back to Howell. But
No place like home.
no, it's so funny. I had told myself I'd never, like, I hated Howell for a long time. Is just bad memories. And what's so funny is life changes and puts different perspective on the things that you thought you hated. You actually,
For sure.
it's like almost like endearing. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of a, it's a growing town, I would say, but more country-ish and,
Nice place to raise a family.
yeah, 100%. And, it's funny. I met my wife, kind of bouncing around churches, and when we decided to live in Fenton. She's from Rochester Hills, and love the town, love the it's a great place to grow a family. But we had always dreamed of just having property to kind of live a little more simpler life, a little more homesteady, if you will.
Yeah.
To be able to hunt our own food and grow our own food and can. And it was funny, just last year we were able to move back to Howell and get a house with some property.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
awesome.
been a huge blessing. But yeah, I mean, we attend the Freedom Center as a family.
And that's in Fenton, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Or I think it's Freedom Center, not the Freedom Center now. They changed it.
Okay.
But yeah, we go there. We're pretty involved. I play bass for the church.
Slap a little bass.
Slap of the bass.
Yeah.
You
play it up here, or
Yeah,
like you got low?
I try to go jazzy.
Yeah. Okay.
But sometimes it goes grunge.
Yeah,
kind of
I
low to
get
the
it.
knee.
You get a little lost in the music.
Yeah,
I get it.
I love it. My son actually, he picked up my second oldest son. He picked up the guitar and bass too. So there's a couple Sundays ago that we got to play for the first time together on
Jam out
on
a
the
little
stage.
bit.
And
A little rush.
it was super emotional. And my, just like I just remember I was his same age when I started playing.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to see that.
Nothing better than seeing your kids grow up and take on something that you also have a little bit of passion on. I mean, you don't want to push them to like all the same things that you like,
Right.
but it is cool and it is fun when they like the same things as you and you can experience that together. And so for me and my boys, that was basketball. They all kind of took to it.
Yeah.
So it just created a lot of great memories for us.
Yeah.
So you talk about family. So you're married. How many
Yep.
kids do you have? And give the
I
kids a
have,
little shout out.
Yeah, we have 4 children.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
6.
I know. Sorry, man. There's
Got
just a
some work to
limit.
do.
It was funny when we started. We wanted to have 10 kids. We wanted to have a lot, and
Wow,
then
on the
that
homestead.
started to slowly diminish as
Yeah.
she was getting pregnant, and she's like, "Nah,
Yeah.
uh-uh."
Kids will
But
take that desire away from you.
well, and that's the funny thing too. When they're just little nuggets, they're just so perfect. Uh, but yeah, my oldest son is 16, Justice. Um, my second oldest, Judah. Um, he's 15.
Love that name.
Then Miles, shout out to Miles. He's going to be
Right
turning.
here.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Miles.
Yeah.
He's going to be turning 13.
That's a fun age.
Yeah, the end of this month, and then my little princess, Noriel.
Oh, no, yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
Great names.
She's 11. 11. Yeah, sorry.
Very cool.
But yeah, they're kind of the my family's the best part of my day.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
they're
So you're a
joy.
family guy, and we love
100%.
that. So any pets
Oh yeah.
at the homestead?
So we've had our run of we've had to put actually Dr. Sandy had to put one of my pups down, but
Oh,
we now have three dogs. We have 3 cats. One was actually a
Holy
gift
cow.
with the house that we just bought last year.
what a gift.
The cat came with the house. She's actually my favorite cat. And then we have 25 egg-laying chickens and a couple of guineas. They're not egg layers. They're more of like weird jungle birds.
Yeah.
The guineas are.
Okay.
So
I think about guinea
It's-
pigs.
no, they're
Then
like
when you
these-
said they're not egg layers, I'm like, I would
Yeah,
really love
yeah,
at that
yeah,
point.
guineas. They're like they're a chicken that comes from I don't know. I don't know where they come from. Africa. I know I was watching some Outdoor Boys, and they were actually the African guys were hunting these birds. They look really weird. They're like a mix between like a turkey and a chicken, maybe a pheasant. They're just
turducken?
odd shaped. Yeah. But they have this crazy call, and their natural instinct is to fight off predators,
Okay.
which is so funny because their call is super creepy. And then, like when you drive in, when they're out kind of roaming, they'll actually run at the vehicles, which is how I've lost.
Okay.
I ran over one
Oh no.
accidentally.
So are they meat chickens or they're just pets?
They can be.
Okay.
They can be. They actually their eggs are a little smaller, but they're super delicious. I think we have all males though, because we haven't been able to, at least from what I
Yeah, that's what you can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all roosters.
Well, good. So, all right. So we got to know a little bit about Dave, the family man, the howl man, the homesteading man, the guinea man,
Yeah.
and the father of 4. So that's great. I think whenever people do business with somebody, it's good to know like who am I getting into business with, and I
Sure.
think knowing who you are and what you're about isn't important. You're a man of faith. So those things are important to some people. And so that's kind of what we like to do is let people get to know a little about you. But now I want to talk a little bit about the business. All right. So, I don't need to intro it. You tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys do.
All right. So I'll give you a little more like how it started. I worked for a company at the time it was called Michigan Cat. It's now called McAllister Machinery. Transportation manager there, and held that position the whole time I was there. One of the things that I strongly believe that we were the best in the business, and we offered the best product. We offered, we were just the best at everything, and we wanted to look the part, and one of the things that seemed to be a real Achilles heel was always getting our trucks cleaned. It would take an hour for them out of their way to go get a truck wash. Sometimes they would be there for an hour, and then they'd spend 3 to 4 hours just to
Slow
get
things
a truck
down.
wash.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, as I started doing a little bit of research, Facebook is a great place. That was kind of what birthed Defender Fleet Service was seeing the need that we had, but being the transportation manager at Michigan Cat, I had so many contacts within the trucking world
Yeah.
that that's where I started. And so just, kind of getting obsessed a little bit with, finding the best priced everything. And it decided I found a trailer out in Iowa, and my wife and I drove out there, and it was June of 2021.
All right.
and that was the official start of the business. And yeah,
And here we are.
here we are.
Today's episode is brought to you by AZ Branding Agency, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. If your business is great but nobody knows it, you don't have a marketing problem, you've got a branding problem. At AZ, we help you stand out with bold branding by creating websites, social media, video, and photography that actually gets noticed. Because attention is the #1 currency in business, and your brand deserves more of it. Learn more at azeebranding.com, and let's get your brand the attention it deserves.
We just had the opportunity to do kind of a rebrand for you, some logos,
Yes.
and we'll show some of those logos here in the podcast we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun with that project. Gonna be working on a website as well soon.
Yep.
But I had a great time, great feedback. You guys were super easy to work with.
Yeah. I love it.
And I think we found something that turned out really sweet.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see it
I
on some
agree.
merch for you guys.
Same.
So, okay. So, I know you had some background with Michigan Cat, but did you go to college? What were some of the past experiences you had that kind of, other than Michigan Cat, that kind of brought you to this point where like, all right, I got to do my own thing?
Yeah. Well, before even I got to Michigan Cat, I was going to school for nursing.
Okay.
I was going to be a nurse.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have any formal education. I was going to college for that. And really it was, I think my heart always wanted to own something. I always wanted to my heart was entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but I didn't know where to start. And,
Sure.
And that's kind of where the excitement of seeing the need for the truck washing. But as far as education, there's a lot of things that I was blessed with Michigan Cat that I got to do that I think really helped kind of propel
sure.
me, not to, deter them, but there's like things like belt leadership training, disc training.
Yeah.
There was a Six Sigma. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Yep.
Six Sigma before, but went through that. And dealership training. So there's a lot of different like cool, more like personal development
Yeah.
that to me, I there's never a whole lot of value that I had in school. I had a hard time
Same.
watching
Yeah.
people grow, get these degrees. I mean, in my year of I was supposed to graduate was 2000. I quit school when I was 16 and started working full time. I ended up getting my GED in 2000 when I was supposed to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
But never saw the desire, like didn't have a need or desire to go to school because I felt like I saw so many people getting so much money in debt.
Yeah.
And then at the time, it just seemed like for some reason around my graduating class, they were all going to be teachers, history, science, whatever. And like everyone had such a hard time finding a job, and I was like, I didn't want to be that guy. I
Right.
saw the value in trades. I saw the value in the money to be made. There's good money if you were, a grunt guy or an operator for, and I did excavating for a while. But just never had a passion to go to school in the sense of learning something. You go to school and like you go into nursing. Well, they make you go through, algebra, algebra 2, like all these different
Intense.
classes that have nothing to do with. And to me, I just think it's such a money grab.
It is.
So that was, I wanted to focus my energies and whatever resources I had on things that were going to better myself.
Yeah.
And just, overall.
Well, I think every true entrepreneur, they start at some point in their life to get this bug of like, I really want to do something for myself. And I know for me, it came from being around a lot of other successful people and realizing like, if they could do that, I could do that.
100%.
I could do that better. And I always kind of took an ownership mentality in any job that I ever had. Like I tried to operate as if I were the owner of this place. How would I do this? And, I was
Absolutely.
raised to have integrity and work ethic and all those things. But at some point I realized like, I want to do something for myself. I'm making millions of dollars for other people. Why don't I try to do something for myself? And then you realize it's really hard. Like statistically, it's almost impossible to make profit in a small business. Like there's 80% of them fail. And then the ones that stay open are really just people that refuse to quit and keep going and push through the hard times. And so it's not an easy life necessarily, but if you have something you love and if you have a good why, then to me, it's way better.
Yeah.
Even the sacrifice, even the countless hours, even the stress, I wouldn't trade it to go back and work for someone else because I think in me is that entrepreneurial spirit. And I think people that have it, they have it. And some people know. I think some people are drawn to entrepreneurship and
Yeah.
they get into it and realize this isn't for me. And I think you just have to know yourself. But I find it interesting. A lot of entrepreneurs I've met do not have a college education, and that's not
Hmm.
across the board. And I think college has a value for sure. Depending on what you're going into, there are certain fields that you're going to go into that you need a college degree, but every field does not need a college
Right.
degree. And there are a lot of wasted classes and wasted money. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are still paying off college debt at my age and not using their degree. So I think, for young people, for parents guiding their children, you really need to help a kid figure out like what are they truly passionate about, where are they gifted, and help guide them to see if college is the right path. I have
Mm.
my oldest daughter has a 4-year degree and works for the hospital. My oldest son went to college for 1 year and did a good job, but realized he wanted to be part of the family business. So he works here and he's getting an education every day.
Yeah.
And so you just have to really kind of know you. And I think as parents, we have to help our kids with that.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of parents just like, we're going to college.
Right.
And I don't think, I have my middle son, sending him to college would just be a total waste of money. He's not academic. He doesn't learn that way. And so to force him to do something like that costs me and him a lot of money and wasted time. And so I just think, not only do people watching need to know yourself, but I think if you have kids, you got to help them through that process. Like
Yeah.
talk about your
100%.
passion and your vision for your life and then what's the best path to get there. So, so let's kind of dive into Defender Fleet Services, the business, and tell our audience like in detail, kind of like what you guys do. And when you say Defender Fleet Services to people listening, that could mean a lot of different things.
Hmm.
So I want to give you an opportunity to clarify like what you guys do and who you serve.
So, Defender Fleet originally started as just truck washing, a mobile fleet washing business. We essentially come to wherever the trucks are, whether they're at the yard or on site on the job. We bring our own water, and we wash trucks with essentially a two-step system. And it was birthed out of, like I said, the need for our own trucks to look good. But so we started beginning just to wash low boys and heavy equipment on site. And when I decided to resign from Michigan Cat and do this full time, we decided to branch out a little more into soft washing and surface cleaning, which is essentially power washing driveway, sidewalks, patios, and washing homes. You don't want to use 3,000 psi on people's siding, so
Right.
you use a different
And people
system.
don't know that, and they do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
put
that's
holes
correct.
in their vinyl siding,
Yeah,
and
it's different if you have
put
brick,
lines in
but-
their aluminum siding.
Yeah, but so we use a proprietary two-step system that in the soaps that we use, one's a high pH, one's a low pH, and it helps break the static bond. And it's a touchless system. So I mean, a lot of the old timers, a lot of people like customers that we use, we still will brush, but it's for the most part it's a brushless system, and so we essentially go to wherever those fleets are. Now, we work with small excavating companies, gravel haulers. I just picked up a couple of asphalt companies, and just recently got an Amazon as Amazon account. So
Yeah.
there's from those vans that you see, those what is it, electric vans.
Yeah.
They look like little tiny spaceships.
Yeah.
So from that to heavy equipment, excavators, I would say about 40% of my business is a trash moving company. They move trash from transfer stations to landfills. So there's a lot of business in that as well. But yeah, that's, the biggest thing too, even when we started this thing, we didn't see, there wasn't a lot of opportunity. There wasn't a lot of, I'm sorry, there wasn't a lot of companies that did washing of the semis, right? Most of the places in the area that they would have to go to Huron, they would have to go to Saginaw, they would have to go to Detroit, Lansing to get a truck wash. And so seeing the need was obviously a big deal. But for me, that was, being from the excavating world, having, my
understanding.
natural Rolodex from Michigan Cat with my contacts. That was just kind of really what it is. I haven't had to do much advertisement when it came to fleet washing in that regard. But But yeah, that's
Well, I think, that's cool. I think for those watching, maybe you are an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe you are someone that's thinking about starting a business. And I think, we talked about the first key is having that bug. Like, I believe in myself. I know I can do this. I'm willing to be broke for an undetermined amount of time. I'm willing to do all the hard things. But then, do you have something that solves a need in the marketplace? Do you,
right.
an idea is one thing, but what needs does it solve? Like,
Yeah.
and for me, like, I've never really thought about, well, who washes all the semi trucks? But I will say, like, when I see a company vehicle that's all nasty and dirty, to me, it's like they don't care about the details. I really
Right.
think that, and maybe everybody doesn't, but I do. And
Same.
even with our little AZ van, we have one van. I think some people think we have a fleet. It's like, oh, I saw one of your vans driving around, and it was me running the red light. But I try to be very conscientious about driving it through the car wash at least a couple times a week, because I
Yeah.
always think like this is a reflection of my company and making it look
100%.
nice. And so, I think if you're listening and you have a fleet of any kind and you are frustrated that it's hard to keep them clean, get a hold of
Well,
Dave.
that's the other thing. Most, I like going around and door knocking. So if I have some free time, I'll actually just go around and canvas and just go into
Like to
companies.
homes or companies? Oh, I
Companies.
was gonna say that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Companies that have like smaller fleets, like HVAC companies that might have some box trucks and vans and stuff like that. And I just pass along, and typically the most people are like, oh, we already, we have our own power washer. And it's
yeah,
like, oh, okay.
yeah,
So do all my customers.
yeah, yeah,
It's it's the consistency of keeping it
yeah,
clean, right? Because at the end of the day, you want your workers doing the job that they're hired
right,
to do and not cleaning their vehicles.
absolutely,
But it's also a maintenance thing. Many of people, in the trucking industry, there's this thing called hours of service. Back in 2015, the DOT came out with drivers could only be on the road for 12 hours out of
yeah,
a day and be only on the clock for 14. And most people need them to push as long as they can, to drive as much
for
as they
sure.
can. And so once they're out of hours, they can't go anymore. And so there's obviously a need for, you don't want to keep your driver, sitting there washing their
Washing the
truck
vehicle.
when they could be doing a load for you.
Yeah,
But also I see it as more of a maintenance thing too when it comes to the commercial side of things, because I'm exposing potential issues, whether it be flat tires, leaking hubs, cracked frames, like all that stuff.
well, here in
And
Michigan, rust.
yeah,
If
it's
you're not washing
aggressive.
the salt off your vehicle regularly, you're gonna rust the underneath, and so
Yeah, it's
it's
a
something
cancer. Yeah,
and you spend so much money on these commercial vehicles.
it's
And
crazy.
so obviously maintenance is cheaper than repair, and part of maintaining a vehicle is keeping it clean.
Yep.
Not even just for the fact from what you're saying that it looks good, but that it's being taken care of,
Yeah.
And so that's excellent. I love hearing the why behind that, and that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, it's something I hadn't really ever given much thought to, but you found a need and you're solving that. So I think for those watching, get a hold of Dave. I think he can help you there.
Yeah.
So
Give it a
I
shot.
think, I want to talk a little bit about success. So, I always say success is defined individually. It means something different to everyone. And so,
Mm,
if you're going to start a business, you have to determine, what does success mean to me? Is that $1 million? Is that this many customers? Is it freedom? Is it time? Is it more opportunities to be with my family? Like, there's some level of success so that you can measure it to say, this is worth it or it's not. Um, and so, I would ask the question, two parts is, how do you define success? And then, what do you think for you is the key to success that you learned so far?
hmm. Huh. I think um, the most valuable, like what defines, in my opinion, a successful person is, especially a family that loves you, a wife and kids
100%.
that not only love and respect but want to be around you. And I think the whole leaving Michigan Cat was a big deal for me. I found a lot of sense of pride. There's obviously huge relationships built over 13 years, but at the end of the day, my desire to be able to spend more time with my family, watching my kids,
Yeah.
um, getting involved in certain things, having more passions, having more like my second oldest son, he loves hunting. That's, something we love doing together. And, my work just never allowed a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And watching them grow, and it's like, man, I'm just missing a lot. And, the idea of owning your own time and, not having the golden handcuffs, as it were, 401 benefits, all that stuff's great. But to me, it's all fleeting, because my biggest investment is my family, and being able to make sure that my kids know I love them, I care for them, but also that they're worth the time, they're worth the investment, and that's ultimately my why. It's like that's probably the biggest struggle. Is there's moments when it can be a financial frustration, and I feel in some ways that I've failed them. But I know ultimately God's the one that owns this business. He's the one that put it in my heart. He's the one that opened the doors. And I don't believe I serve a cruel God or a father that just sets me up so he can just pull the rug and destroy me. So I have to go back to the place where pain and the suffering isn't made to make me suffer. It's made to make me grow. And I just listened to, in fact, my wife sent it to me. It was this little TikTok video, this old man, super old dude, sitting on a chair.
Like
and he's
me.
like, it's very close. I mean, you got me on
Not that old.
You got me on a year? But he was talking about, sometimes we don't hear God or we don't see God. But you have to remember, when you're taking a test, the teacher's silent. And there's something about that stillness of uncomfortableness of I don't see, every timeline that I've thought about is not good. It doesn't end well. And I'm using my own experience to figure out these timelines where God's building something beyond this for me. And as I lean into him, trust him, and just have the hope that, he set me up to do this. He owns the business. I'm just here to manage it.
Yeah.
And trying to do the best in that. So I feel like there's these moments that they get very frustrating because I don't have an answer. And I try to take all these opportunities too. My two oldest sons work with me, and my youngest son will be working with me this summer too. It'll be interesting. Shout out to Miles.
2 shout outs.
Yeah, you got a doable. But the biggest thing for me is that like talking through these moments, like they get to see the struggle, they get to see the pinch points, the things like when machines break down, when flat tires, when we blow out hoses, when we still have to get the work done, but we have to kind of limp through it. And we don't have the luxury of sitting here and be like, well, just forget it, we're done.
That's it.
It's
Locking
like
out.
we have to, what's our options? How do we figure this out? And there's moments, I mean, I remember there was one time I was so frustrated. We had this pump sprayer we had to use to apply on this equipment to get the stuff removed, and my pump went down and the tip got broke, and it was like a double punch. So I had to go back to a pump sprayer, and I didn't have a tip for it. And I just sat there and I'm like, God, what do I need to do? Like, I'm just praying and really more getting angry, just like, what do I do? And it was like this moment that I realized I could press this tip into a pancake and it would fan spray. And and I was so excited. My son's washing. I stopped his machine. I'm like, dude, listen, son, I just prayed. Remember, see how all this is going down, like, a sinking ship. And I was just praying. I'm like, God, what do I do? And he's like, this, you can use this. And it was like this moment of like this revelation at this moment. And it's very simple and stupid now, but like it was a big deal at the time because we had to get this job done. And it was like this moment that my son got to see me walk through these moments, these pressing moments that it's like, what do I do? How do we go to God? How do you figure this out? We got to go to God. And, he's going to help us think clear and work through this. And that was it. It was such a great moment. And he was super pumped, and it was like this weird emotional moment, but it was like, that to me is so huge. Being able to walk with my children, even in my own life, that I that I feel like I fail all the time at, but it's like, listen, I don't know how to do this, guys.
Right.
So you get to
Figuring it
see
out on the spot.
your front row get to see me fail and try it again and fail and try it again. And it's like the one thing that I know is unwavering is my unconditional love that I have for you guys, that I want you guys not to have to be burdened with some of the stupid stuff that I am, to figure it out and see it.
I love that, man. I mean, for those of you watching, you just got an education really on what it means to be an entrepreneur. And, you know, you mentioned, first of all, like your why. And there are going to be times where you're like, I just want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of waiting for someone to pay me. You know, whatever it is. And you got to go back to the why.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you guys walked in the office today, you saw a big canvas. It's the biggest thing I have in the office. It says, remember why you started. It was the first thing I ever designed when I got my first office. It hung right in my office. It hangs there now because I want it to be the thing I see when I walk in. Because there are days where it's like, you know, I mean, I've turned down some really high paying jobs to keep doing this, and they're on the table. I could quit tomorrow and go be making six figures with a phone call, a text. And so there's times where you're like, why? And then you have to remember that why. Why am I doing this? You know, I've been able to experience so many things with my kids that I would never have got to experience had I worked hotels for 10 years, and it was 80 hours a week. It's just what was the life. And I missed a ton when I was doing it. And so, you know, could it change someday? Maybe. But that's where, like you talked about, secondly, the vision of what does God have me doing? This is God's business. This is where he put me in this moment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it. And until he tells me to do something else, I'm going to do this the best that I know how and keep pushing forward and not relying on myself too much. You know, to me, how someone could do this without faith blows my mind.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't get
more
it.
power to you. I think you're missing a really key ingredient personally.
Yeah.
But for me, like, my faith gets me through. And
Same.
and I like what you said about the teacher is silent during the test. You know, that's a good perspective, because sometimes it's like, all right, you know, that still small voice is speaking, but like, you got to figure this out. And so I appreciate you sharing that, man. So let's talk a little bit about you, the entrepreneur, you, the person. So in order for anyone to be an entrepreneur, they have to have some skills, you know, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills, nunchucking skills, whatever they might be.
Yeah. Chinese stuff.
So I'd like to ask you the question is, like, you know, in terms of skill set, what do you think are your best skills personally and professionally? What skills do you bring to the table?
Well, I guess, you know, even in this, you know, I'm me, and I have a lot of confidence in my ability to make a conversation, to figure out needs, to me, that's probably the biggest thing that I see a lot of people, what keeps them back, right? Is, well, I don't know the answer. I don't know. How do I do it? It's a lot of times it's just conversation. A lot of times it's just putting yourself out there. So for me, I'm confident in my abilities to learn. You know, I always want to be a student in that regard. The moment you stop learning is, I feel like, the moment that you've decided to die.
Yes.
Because there's so much to learn. And I guess that's kind of the thing. It's like, just not being afraid to try, just going for it. You know, it's funny. I didn't know anything about, like changing brakes and, you know, any of that kind of stuff. And a friend of mine, he had pushed me, and he's like, listen, man, the only thing you're going to be out of is the money you've got in parts if you get it wrong. Right.
Yeah.
But that's a fraction of what it's going to cost if you go have them done. So it's like, would you rather run the risk of, you know, spending $100 on parts and actually doing all the work right, or having to go spend, you know, $600 on brakes? And it's like, all right, so let's go for it, you know? And this is, you know, this is back before YouTube was a big deal, before you could just pull out your phone and watch a video. I mean, I'm carrying around a pager and a flip phone, you know what I mean? And it was like this moment that I realized, man, I just give it a try. Just try it. If you fail, then you fail, but you figured out how to not do it, right? How to not do that thing. And I think that's, for me, that's one of the things that's always kept me kind of at these front lines to be able to be successful. Is just, I'm just not afraid to try,
I love
not
it.
afraid to give it a go.
My mom always used to say to me, you can't and never could until you tried.
Yeah.
And so, be willing to try something and be more afraid of not trying than be afraid of failing. You learn a lot more from failure than you do from winning. And I just gave 8 cliches in like 8 seconds, but that
Yeah,
was
I was
really
waiting
good.
for the Gretzky one,
That's
right?
yeah, that comes later. That comes later. So let's talk about a little bit, we're coming close to the end here. I think we say this here all the time. The most valuable currency for a business is attention.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all trying to get attention, right? You go door to door, you do different things, networking. So, tell us what you think what is the greatest way for a business, a brand to get attention today?
Hmm.
Or it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be a couple
Yeah,
things that you do.
just with the era of social media, with the era, like there's a lot of very similar to this kind of thing, podcasting. I think being in touch with, like I love the fact a lot of your stuff is very appealing to the eye too, right? It's the branding, the logo that you guys created for me. It's like I love it. There's something clean about it, and I think the biggest thing when it comes to having your exposure and stuff is being able to be consistent and in posting different things. I've been trying to be really consistent on Facebook just
Mm-hmm.
recently. In fact, after you guys created my new logo, was that I wanted to have a Facebook page for my business, which I had never had, and just be posting videos, content
Yeah,
of what I do, so people can see. It's a big array of what I'm washing, but they can see the before and afters,
absolutely.
and that to me, I think that's a really big deal. So there's a lot of free ability, like a lot of things. Social media is free, when it comes to exposing yourself. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the biggest struggles. Um, I used to have in my head, I needed to go get swag, I need to
Yeah.
get hats and t-shirts made and, whatever. And, all that stuff costs money. And if you can be creative enough, you can figure out ways, podcasting, even sharing, doing quick little videos
Yep.
of what you do,
100%.
what you offer, and have that available for people to go to and see, because we are, and the other thing is, word of mouth is a big deal. We can advertise all day long and they can see your logo a million times, but at the end of the day, if people haven't used you and can't give you, you know um if there's no one, like, I would rather take the advice of friends I know, like, dude, this guy does a great job at roofing, this guy does a great job at,
Right.
installing doors,
Far
this
more
guy does.
trusted.
I'm like, I trust him, so I'm going to call him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call 14 different door companies to see how much it's going to cost. Like, I trust whatever
Yep.
this guy's going to do, he's going to do the right thing. And I feel like that integrity goes a long way. And just showing up, being there, and being a person of your word is
Yeah.
just a big deal.
I think it's all part of building a trustworthy brand.
Yep.
I know this is because I met you. You do networking.
Yep.
You're in a networking,
Yeah.
couple networking groups, chambers.
Yeah.
Those are all to get attention, right? You get
Yeah.
a chance to stand up and talk about your business a little bit and meet people. You said you go door to door. It's a good way to draw some attention. But then you mentioned social media, which I think right
huge.
now in 2026, the best way to get attention is through social media. Um, and you mentioned, the consistency of it and trying to, be more on top of it and putting stuff out there. So what would you say, just be candid, how many times per week would you say you post on social media?
So seasonally, because I haven't washed much, and this is kind of, actually, I was thinking about this, but I was trying to post at least once a week
Mm-hmm.
of the equipment, and some of it seemed repetitive, but I feel like for me, I was trying to post once a week. I think when you're in a different business, posting on a more consistent basis is going to bode well for you in the long run.
Sure.
The more you post, the more content seen, the more
Mm-hmm.
responses you get,
More
whether
attention.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
So whether it's new leads or consistent returns, and then shares, all that stuff is a big deal.
Well, I would challenge you a little bit on that to say, I think if you need attention, once a week isn't enough. And I realized, like, you talked about your services exist because companies need to do what they are doing. They need to haul to the next location. They need to be on the job site. They need to be using the vehicle. And to have someone that's just wasting time, or not wasting time, but doing something that's not moving the job forward, they need to be able to do what they're good at.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so that's why they hire someone like you to handle this thing that you're good at. And so, why do people not wash their vehicles? Not because they don't believe they need to be washed, because they don't have time, they don't have the equipment, they don't, make time, whatever.
Right.
And I'd say it's the same thing with social media. Why don't people, you expressed it's important, it's where you get attention, but you don't do it because seasonality,
Yeah.
because it gets repetitive, because how many times can I show myself washing a car, or washing a vehicle, or I'm busy doing this, I don't have time to make a video or post. And that's where a company like ours exists, right? People come to us because, like, well, I don't have time for this. And so you can help us with that. But I would say, like, unless you have the budget for it, I think companies should make social media particularly a high priority. And you might think, oh, they've already seen me wash this vehicle. But the way social media works, the lifespan of a post is 24 to 48 hours, and a new group of people are probably going to see it every time you post it. And even if the same person sees it over and over and over, they're going to know exactly what you do. And when they have that moment of that conversation with somebody of, oh, I need someone to, man, our company vehicles are always, oh, I know this guy. I see this guy on Facebook all the time. He's always posting. And it might seem repetitive to you, but you have to keep putting out. So I would challenge you, like, when businesses come to me and say, we're struggling, we can't make the bills, we're, can't get new customers. And my first question is always, how many times a week do you post on social media? We post every day, sometimes multiple times per day. And sometimes it is repetitive.
Yeah.
This podcast that we're making right now, it's going to get posted, but it'll also probably be 8 or 10 clips that we're going to post, short clips. And, people are getting tired of seeing my mug. That's why hopefully they'll see more of you. And it's like, how many times do we want to see Tony saying another thing?
Sure.
But it gets attention. It gets
I'm already
talking.
sick of you, man.
Exactly, right? So it gets attention. And so I would just encourage you as the business owner, until you're at a place where you're like, we have the budget to just hire a company to do this for us, just put content out there. And sometimes people get analysis paralysis, like, well, I don't have the right video camera, or the lighting is not good. Or I would say quantity over quality in social media is better. If you can afford high quality stuff, do it. But just like you would tell someone, washing your vehicle with a lower grade power washer and the wrong kind of soap is better than not washing it at all.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just want to encourage you as the business owner, be consistent in it and make it a priority. It will help the business grow.
So what for social media? I mean, you've got quite a bit. Do you guys canvas everything? Like, from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? Are you guys are blasting?
So we're
everything?
on pretty much it all. We're on all of them, but we don't spend a ton of energy on TikTok. We do post there, but TikTok, the difference is we're trying to reach more of a regional audience. Yeah. TikTok's going to put your video out to anyone who's interested in your content in the world. And we technically could do business with somebody in California. We have some clients out of state, but it's not ideal.
Sure.
And so if you're trying to, have a broad reach outside of your area, or if you just want to be a content creator, TikTok's a great platform, but it's not for every business. Instagram, we post there, but we just don't get much from it. For us, it's Facebook. And I think at minimum, every business should have a Facebook page. Don't get overwhelmed with the Twitter or X and LinkedIn. And there's so many things you could do, but man, it's already hard enough to just do one thing. So if you're going to just do one thing, get a good Facebook post or Facebook page, post something every day. And if it's, hey guys, we're headed to Fenton today we're going to wash some trucks, wish us luck. It's just, it's that simple. Or, I'm turning the power washer on. I can't get it started. Show your blunders. Oh, look what I did. I made this little pancake thing, and let people see it. And some people might scroll past, but someone's going to be interested in it and share it and talk about it, or tell someone else about it, and it will get you business. So to me, as inexpensive as it is, it's free, right?
Yeah.
Do the things you got to do to get yourself attention.
Right
and you'll
on.
get better at it. We talked about this before the show about podcasting. I'm terrible at it when I started, and I'm still learning. But you get better and you better and better. And you change breaks. You don't know what you're doing, but then you learn it and you just get better and better. So that would be my encouragement. At minimum for your business, I would say Facebook. Don't get
Yep.
too caught up in
Okay.
the other platforms. It's probably not going to benefit you that much, but at least 4 to 5 times a week, post on Facebook. If you can do it every day, do it. Spend 1 hour a month thinking through, what do I want to post? Use AI to help you come up with some ideas. And then just do it. And that way you're not thinking about it every single day. But if there's everything we can do to help you with that, obviously we're here.
For sure.
But, as the business is growing, it's probably the best use of your dollars to figure out, maybe get your kids involved. I know they're probably not heavily into social media at their age, but get them involved in helping you make videos. Or, your 13-year-old, you're coming on the job. Your job today is to get some photos. Before I let you hold a power washer, you're going to get me 5 great photos or 5 little video clips. And it's part of the business. And teach them that this is part of the business, because their generation gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can grab onto it, like, probably my least favorite thing in the world is to edit videos. That's what my oldest son does. And I don't ever have to edit videos now because he does it, and he's really good at it and much better than I would be. And so I would just say, get the kids involved, do it, make it a priority. It will help your business grow. It
Right on.
absolutely will.
Now, question about that. So, like, I've heard of people doing this. Maybe you guys do this, but like, do you like, if you're doing a quick video clip or you're just showing some stuff, do you get all that content and then have it kind of labeled like, here's Mondays, here's Tuesdays, so that all you're doing is delayed posting kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Scheduling.
Like, you're doing all your work in one day, and then you're kind of throwing it out there throughout the week.
Yeah, we're typically, with all of our clients and with us, we're trying to work 2 to 4 weeks ahead. So we're scheduling stuff today that's not going to be posted till the middle of February or the end of February. We have some clients that February is already completely scheduled, graphics created, captions written, and we won't touch it until March or end of February. And if you can work ahead like that, it's better, because what we ask of our clients, 1 day a quarter to sit down with us for an hour and just think through what do you want to promote this quarter? What are some events you have coming up? What are some specials you're running? Blah, blah, blah. Help us. So we say you only have to think about your social media once a quarter. And then we schedule a content day where we come to your location or to a job site, and we spend an hour or 2 getting photos and videos and stuff that we thought ahead. And then we do it. We don't sit every day and think, what am I going to post today?
Right.
Because then you just won't do it.
Yeah.
If you're waking up thinking, what am I going to post today? You're probably not going to post.
Sure.
So I would just say, like, commit yourself to an hour or 2 a month to sit down and really think through it. You know what jobs are coming up. We're going to get a video there. We're going to get a couple videos there that we're going to use over the course. We're going to do some before and after pictures here. We're going to, whatever. I mean, the business, and, how many different ways can you show power washing? Well, one day you're doing the tires. The next day you're up high and you're doing the top. Next day you're doing underneath, showing different elements of it, and, show the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, I have a billion pictures, but I feel like me naturally, I love watching small clips and like time lapse and different things like that, where it's like, to me, it's more appealing to the eye. So I see.
Well, and listen, I agree, but you're not the only person on social media. So it's not all, it's not just what you like.
Sure.
This is one thing I talk about with the team. Like, they don't want to post certain things because maybe it's not their taste or their style. I'm like, just put it out there. Let's see how it goes. And sometimes,
it's just funny because I only have one video on my social media.
Well, and sometimes, like, the most well-produced video that we've ever, like, it's just amazing. Or like, this is going to be the one, and it goes and it gets like 8 views, 18 views. And then you do something stupid that's just like, and it goes crazy. So you never know what's going to, you see this Dr. Pepper commercial girl on TikTok. I don't know. This girl just, she's basically, the camera's in her face. She's an overweight girl. And she goes, I got a jingle for Dr. Pepper. And she goes, here it goes. Dr. Pepper, baby, it's good and nice. Doodle-doo. That's it. That was the whole video. And the camera's right here. Not good lighting, not a good angle. It was stupid. And it went crazy viral. and everybody started remixing it and making all these AI generated Dr. Pepper commercials.
Nice.
Dr. Pepper saw it, contacted her, paid her a bag for the jingle, and then just at the national championship game, they played a commercial produced by their creative team with her voice, and she got paid. And not only did her video get millions upon millions of views, everybody knows who she is now. She did another
crazy.
one for Vita Coco. They made a commercial off it because she was just willing to put herself out there. And I'm telling you, when you watch it, it is the least well-produced video, the least creative jingle. Dr. Pepper, it's good and nice. Like,
Yeah, right.
what does that even mean?
What is that?
But it went crazy. So just put something out there. You never know. You can't think about it too much. You can't think, well, I would just never like this. Somebody might like it.
Yeah.
And that's the way the internet works. And so that's why I say quantity over quality, because you're going to find it. And then look at your analytics once a month, once a quarter. Okay. The posts that had my kids in it, those ones did the best. So we're going to highlight the kids more. Or the posts where I was, working on this, those ones did really well. And then you just start figuring out, and you get better at it, and you figure out how to take better pictures and better video clips, and
Right on.
just do it, man. I encourage you. We spent way too long talking about this, but this is what
I
I
know, but,
love.
like,
this is
but
good.
as you're talking about,
this is
this,
gonna
like,
help
my
somebody.
mind's thinking about a lot of things, like
Yeah.
even like what you just said, the plunders, like having my kid take pictures of like, oh, we just blew out this hose, like showing them like this is
Yeah.
what we got to do on
The
the
life of
fly.
an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's so funny. It's almost like, helpful for all the little guys that want to start something like this.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's what it
Don't
looks
take
like.
yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody else does.
right.
Right? We like to think we're like super professional, and but people like humans.
Yeah. it's
And,
raw.
if they can see that this is a guy that loves his kids, this guy's out here washing semis with his kids. Like, that's so cool. We're going to have him come do it. And it might not be for other people. Like, this guy's an idiot. He's letting kids do that. That's dangerous. Like,
Right.
oh, well, you're not for everybody.
Right.
And I try to say, if you try to appeal to everybody, you don't appeal to anybody.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
find your people. Some are going to love you. Some are going to hate you.
Well, you need the haters, right?
You need the haters, right? That's how we keep going. So on this 20-minute episode, we're now 50 minutes in, and I love it.
Excellent.
It's been a great conversation, and there's so many more things we could talk about, but we're going to end the episode today
Right on.
with a segment I call Say It in 60. And this is a popular segment. People like this. I'm going to give you 10 rapid-fire questions that you got to answer in 60 seconds. So you can't elaborate. These got to be quick answers, okay? And if you win, then you get nothing. You get to brag all the way home that you did it in 60 seconds to your wife.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I would say if you lose, then you owe your wife a really good lunch here in Owasso. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I
all
got
right.
you.
Are you ready
Well,
for
that's
this?
gonna happen either way. She's already won.
60 seconds on the clock. Tell me when you're ready.
So each one I have to say in 60 seconds?
You got 10 questions. You got to answer them all in 60 seconds.
Okay.
You don't
All right,
get
let's go.
60 seconds for each question.
Yeah, can be long-winded. I'm sorry.
Ready? And the timer starts now. Favorite hobby?
Probably hunting.
Favorite place you've ever been?
Oh, the UP.
Favorite food?
Man, anything my wife makes.
Good answer. A must-read book?
Business of Honor.
Favorite podcast?
This one.
Episode 2. I'm already my favorite. A daily habit everyone should practice?
Getting up.
In your opinion, what will help your brand more? High-quality photography or high-quality video?
I think video.
A great website or great social media presence?
Well, from your long-winded example, I would say social media.
Okay, last question, 5 seconds. What does success mean to you?
Family.
Family. He did it. He did it right at the last second. Studio audience, round of applause.
Thank you.
David Levens completed Say It in 60. Dave, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. This was fun.
Thanks for having
It was
me,
a great
man.
conversation.
Love
It was
this.
a great conversation. And I always say we try for a 20, 30-minute episode, but if the conversation is good, let's just keep going. And that's going to help some people. I absolutely believe some of the things you said are going to really help people as they're on this journey. And yeah, so before we go, though, I want you to look into this camera. You can give another shout out to your son if you want. But go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug. This is your chance to tell people how they can find you, where they can find you, how they connect with you, all the things.
Yeah. So Defender Fleet Services, LLC. We're out of Howell. We're on Facebook. You can go to Defender Fleet Services / Facebook. I really don't. It's probably super long, but
Yeah, that'd probably work.
if you guys are in need of washing your fleece, we do free demos, so I can come out and do a free demo of any of your vehicles that you have. And yeah, you can find all my contact information on there.
All right. Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for making the
Thanks
trip
for having
over.
me.
Yeah, thanks for making the trip over. And I hope this helps you. I think that it will.
Yeah, man.
And if you're watching, I appreciate you watching. And I would just say, highly recommend Dave. He's a high integrity, high character guy, family man, a follower of God. He's going to do right by you and your business. And so if you're looking for the services he offers, reach out to him. Take that free demo. Let him see what you can do. I know you won't be disappointed, and he'll take good care of you. So that's all we got for today. I want to thank you for watching. And I want to remind you that, as my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We want to connect with you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what guests you want us to have on the podcast. Follow us on social media for more branding insights, and thanks for watching Behind the Brand.